Well, there you are. Very good, happy, wonderful Saturday morning to you. It's Drive Time Radio. I'm New York Vinnie, and we spend the next little bit of time together as we put together our podcast and talk about things happening in the automotive world on this gray Saturday here in Seattle. If you're around, you can see it. If you're not around, you just feel it, I guess. But it is windy. A storm is coming in, and it's right in the middle, smack dab in the middle of that time that you say to yourself that, man, next year I got to plan a trip to Arizona. I gotta get to Arizona next year. It's just it's spring training is such a welcome piece away from the madness that is up here, the cold, the rain, cold weather, just the gloominess that sets in, and this, and as we are like really starting to come toward the end of it, it's really kind of you're at the worst part because you can turn on the radio and you can hear baseball being played, and that reminds you of summer. You can look at people or places like Arizona, Southern California, and they look nice. It looks warm, so you're kind of in that mode. I mean, it's kind of a cool thing, but you just wish that you were in it. You wish that you had planned better. You wish that you would say, you know what, I'm going to do this year, what I always say I'm going to do. And I used to do it regularly. I used to go down to spring training regularly. And then since I've come back, I haven't. And I don't know why. I do know why I didn't this year. What was my excuse this year? I'm so good at making up excuses. Oh, my excuse this year was that I want to go see the eclipse. There's that eclipse that's coming the early part of April. I think it's April 7th or something like that. And you're going to be able to see it in the northeast part of the country. As a matter of fact, the path of totality will probably go right through Lake Chautauqua in upstate New York, which is a place that I love. And I think to be at Chautauqua or Lilydale, which is one of the communities that are up there during a total eclipse, would be a blast. I mean, I really do think it's going to be wild. It's going to attract all kinds of different people. So I really want to go. I went to the one in, what was it, 2018, something like that. And went down to right on the Indiana-Tennessee border down there. And it was great. We found this small town that was supposed to be right in the path of totality, and it was. And it got dark, and it was a few thousand people crammed into this small town. One with my friend Lori, and we had a blast. It was such a good time. A bunch of great people were gathered, and everybody's attention was focused on the eclipse. And so everybody was cool with each other. The shops were doing good. My only regret of that entire weekend, or actually, I don't think it was a weekend. I think it was during the week. My only regret is that I went into a thrift store, a secondhand store in the town, and I walk in, and on the counter, and I collect old baseball gloves. I like to find baseball gloves with, great players of the past, even not so great players of the past on them. And if they're cheap enough, I buy them and I keep them around. I got a box of them. So I walk into this store, and there is two gloves sitting on this back counter. One of them is Richie Zisk, and the other one is Ken Griffey Jr. And I'm looking at the gloves and I'm going to myself, man, I don't know if I want to buy these and I didn't. I took a picture of them and then I left them on the counter. And it's one of those things that I've regretted ever since. I mean, I love going out for a ride and thrifting and finding odd stuff. I found tons of odd stuff at Goodwills and stuff around here. It's one of the great things to do when you got to drive different places. But for whatever reason, I stalled on buying this. And now I regret it because those are two great Mariner baseball gloves to have. I mean, you can't go wrong with either one, Richie Zisk or Ken Griffey Jr. It's definitely represented two different and very separate and opposite parts of the franchise, but it was still very cool. Very cool. So this year, that's my excuse. I'm going. I'm making my travel plans and arrangements because there's a certain place I want to be to see this all happen. And uh, I'm so happy that it's going to be at Chautauqua because I love Lake Chautauqua, the Chautauqua Institution. It's upstate New York. It's kind of under, if you go south of Buffalo, it's kind of right there. I don't know, 25, 30, 40 miles. I forget how far, but it's just a place that I've always found. I love Lake Chautauqua. It's a throwback to a different time when things were much simpler. And it's one of those things where you go and you're relaxed. It relaxes me. It makes me feel good. So, and then Lilydale is like, all the metaphysical stuff and the psychics and all that. And it's, I mean, I look at it and I say, okay, maybe they got a point. Maybe they got something happening. I'll see. I'm curious. I like to learn. But either one of those places I thought would be a blast to be for the eclipse. So one of them is where I will wind up. We'll do our show live from there, wherever I wind up. And then we'll do a special eclipse show, I believe, on the day of the eclipse. But don't look at me. Look up at the sky, but make sure you get your eclipse glasses. That was the other cool thing about this town that we went to in southern Illinois near Carbondale, is that there were people that didn't have, the special glasses you need. Now, I got these here. I don't think that these are adequate enough, though. I'm not sure that these are the right glasses to have, but I'm going to check it out. But if you remember, everybody had, was struggling to find the glasses. They were sold out everywhere. You couldn't buy them. And all of a sudden, about an hour before the eclipse, people are getting hyped up and they're cutting little holes in cardboard boxes to look at it and everything, like they tell you. And some woman comes along and she's just handing out glasses. I mean, they were going for like $50 on eBay and on Marketplace and stuff like that. But this woman just came along and she had a basket full of them and she was just handing them out to people that didn't have glasses. So my note to any potential political candidate is pick yourself up a million pairs of these glasses and have your people hand them out, whether it's in your district or at the eclipse site or whatever. If you're one of the presidential candidates, you can stand there and hand them out all day, and you'll have a million people walking around with your name on their head. I think if you're running for president or something like that, that's not a bad thing. No, yeah, it'd be interesting. Anyway, so but that's my excuse for not going to spring training this year. I couldn't handle both. I couldn't do that and couldn't go to the eclipse. And baseball is going to happen all year. There's 162 games. There's a scat of spring training games, but this is the last eclipse that's going to happen while I'm alive. Total eclipse of the sun like this. The last one that's going to happen while I'm around. So I want to go see it. So I'm going to get on a plane. I'm going to fly there. I'm going to get a car, and I'm going to go up to Chautauqua or somewhere up there near Niagara Falls, and I'm going to see it. And I'm going to go and I'm going to experience it. Because at this point, that's what life is about, having experiences, right? It's not just that you can buy something, but it's that you can experience something. And I think those types of things are good for you all the time. They make you happy. I mean, you get a new something, it makes you happy for a while, but after a while, you're like, okay. But when you experience something, when it touches you in your heart, your soul, and stuff like that, it really gets to you. It really makes you think about it. So, I'll keep you updated on my plans um, for the eclipse and how I will try to relay what I'm seeing there back to you. But again, as I say, don't rely on Facebook or me or television. Get out of the house, go to the park, and experience it. I know one of the coolest things I saw when I was back there in Illinois is, it's a rural area. This is a town of 300 people, and it's just this beautiful hilly terrain. And on top of one of these hills is an old age home. And out in front of the old age home, on the sloping, beautiful green blanket of a lawn they had people lined up on the lawn in wheelchairs with walkers. Um, they even had beds out there. They even rolled beds out onto the lawn so the people who couldn't get out of bed would see the eclipse, could feel like they were a part of it. I thought that was one of the coolest things I'd ever seen in my life. It's just that coolness of the staff was so dedicated that they took who they could take out to see the eclipse. So I'm excited about it. If you are thinking of going back, let me know. Maybe we can meet up. Like I said, I'm going to be in that western corner of New York or that Erie corner of Pennsylvania, where they kind of come together on the south shore of Lake Erie. And that's where I plan to be, somewhere there. Look, it's a once in a lifetime thing. Well, actually, this has happened now twice in my lifetime within a few years, but this is going to be the last one for a long time. So if you're one of those adventurous people, if you're one of those people that say, I like adventure, I mean, maybe I'm not a big hiker, maybe I'm not going to swim across the Puget Sound, or I'm not going to swim up the Hudson River, but if I can get somewhere in my car, I'm going to go. And this might be the perfect way to do that, to experience something with, and dare I say it, a number of other people who are all looking at something common. Can you imagine that in this day and age? For all these people to be gathered in a place and this celestial event happening that puts you into perspective. Yeah, it puts you into perspective. And it makes you think about how small we really are and what we really are. And you do it with a bunch of people. And all the other stuff, when you do that, kind of starts to fall by the wayside, even if it's for a couple of minutes. I heard a guy, I was watching YouTube this morning, and I saw a guy do a review of Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons in Vegas. And the caption he put on the review was an honest review, and he put the honest in capital letters. So I figured this guy was going to rip Frankie Valli, because maybe he lip syncs some of the songs. Maybe, guy's 89 years old. He's on the road 100 nights a year. But I was very pleasantly surprised, extremely pleasantly surprised, when he said, look, the guy is his age and maybe he lip syncs, but it's Frankie Valli and the Four Seasons. And if you're sitting there singing along to those songs, you don't think about anything else in the world. You don't think about the news. You don't think about the tragedies. You don't think about all of the bad stuff. The only thing you think about are the words of the song. And they're all kind of tragedies in themselves. There are all these romantic, working my way back to you and let's hang on and ragdoll, but the guy was so spot on in his review of the concert because he said he was so right that going to this show takes all your mind off of all of that. And you're just there listening to this 89-year-old guy out on stage, still working. You probably all know the story. And I thought it was a great review, and it really touched my heart that he put it in those terms. Listen, I know it's a car show, and we were talking about cars and driving to the eclipse and everything, but sometimes you got to point out social stuff too. Big news, I think, in the car business over the last week was that the folks from Rivian pulled out a bunch of new models, uh, some of them priced in an almost affordable range. And and so the electric, interesting that they would do it now when things are kind of weird on the electric front. Lots of people are not buying electric cars right now, mainly because they're so expensive, I think, and also the charging infrastructure. I had the Toyota BZ4X last week. We're going to do a full review on it this week in a few minutes. And I loved that car. I loved it. But when I tried to go charge it, I had to go to 2 charges, 3 charges before I could get one that would talk to the car, that wasn't damaged by vandals. I went up here to Aurora, and there's 3 brand new charging stations they put in at the Winco, and all 3 of them were damaged. I mean, I know that we have animals out there, but it was hard to see that, especially when you need them. So I went down to another one over at Campbell Nelson Volkswagen. They had Nissan. They had the charger there, plugged in, boom, charged the car. What a great car, the BZ4X. And again, we'll talk a little bit about it in a minute. But a lot of people right now shying away from electric cars for various reasons. I still believe in them. I'm not, because 2 weeks, 3 weeks, they don't sell a lot of them. That you shy away from it. There's a great value there, but people are apprehensive about buying them because they're worried about getting stranded. They're worried about um, all the different things that can happen. They're worried about technology that they don't know or don't understand. And there's a political factor to it too. I think there are people on one side of the spectrum that say this is going to make me look like I'm a this guy, and then they have the people on the other side going to make me look like a communist I mean, there's all sorts of bizarre reasons why people won't buy them, but they are the future. Maybe it's the GM and these other companies have a good idea that they jumped the gun a bit, and they're much more interested and should have brought people along to hybrids and then electric cars, brought them along halfway. Maybe as a society, we just can't handle that much change at one time. I don't know. I'm not a sociologist. I did take several sociology courses in college, but I'm not a sociologist. So I can't tell you. But I know people. And I know that there's a fear of these cars. I'm here to tell you that there's really nothing to fear except running out of, being, if you're like me and you're not the greatest planner in the world. I mean, I'm a little tough at planning things. You have to be a good planner to own one of these cars. You have to be able to say, I'm going to drive X amount of miles, and then I'm going to go to the charging station and recharge the car. I'm going to drive X amount more. You have to be disciplined enough to do that. There's all kinds of aids to help you with that. I mean, we had the guy on from one of those places that had the map that integrated with the charging stations and blah blah blah. And those things are going to be very helpful to people in the future. But right now, they've put this product out there that's a great product, and people are afraid to touch it. So, something to think about. Another thing that, again, I want to go back to Rivian here because Rivian really, it's a company to watch. Their pickup truck and their SUVs are, from what I hear, I haven't driven one yet, but from what I hear from people, really good. Really solid SUVs. We talked about a story where one guy got hit in the rear with one, and it was like $42,000 to fix it because they bent the pan in the back under the pickup bed. I think that might be something that happens with everything. But according to several media outlets, Rivian shot out the information on, they make two vehicles right now, the R1T and the R1S. They also make a lot of those Amazon trucks that you see, the electric trucks with the big taillights in the back. Well, what they have showed off, I guess, is 3 new vehicles. They have March 7th, they're going to roll out an R2 SUV that's supposed to be smaller and less expensive than the Rivian that we are used to, and more affordable for the masses, which could be, if this thing is, and it also hooks up to Tesla superchargers. So you'll be able to buy this car for $40,000, which is below the average price of a new vehicle transaction these days. And it's going to be a decent electric car. So they revealed that, and then they revealed another smaller car. But the R2 is a car that seats 5. It's an SUV with a starting price of $47,500 and a range up to 330 miles. So it'll be, and there's also 2 other vehicles that went along with it that I don't know much about right now. But Rivian is taking that step of manufacturing, which is so important, affordable electric vehicles. People want electric vehicles that are affordable, that they can obtain on for not much more than what they're driving their gasoline vehicle for. I mean, if you go to buy an F-150 Lightning pickup truck, which they've stopped the production on at the moment, I guess they're starting it up again, you're talking about a minimum, a truck that's supposed to be $40,000. This is a car, you can't find one for under $70,000. They don't exist. And they're pricing the average person. Now, you can go out and get a 90-month loan, 96-month loan, or, something like that, 84-month loan, and pay it off. But you're paying almost as much in interest as you're paying for the truck. You got to be crazy to do that. But if there's more attainable, more affordable vehicles on the electric side, I think people will listen. People don't want to pay $60,000, $70,000, $80,000 for something that they don't know about, and that half of their friends are telling them is going to last as long as a fart in a breeze. It's just the way it is. So it's nice to see Rivian coming out with that. There's a scad of electrics coming out, ton of them, and I think you'll. I think by this time next year we'll see this market turn around again. But right now, if you want an electric, you want a Mustang Mach E, or well, the Chevy Bolts are interesting because they're not making them anymore, and yet it's this is General Motors. They're not making the Bolt anymore, and it's clearly the Volkswagen of electric cars. It's clearly a car that is relatively inexpensive compared to other electrics, gives you decent range, is a very manageable driving system, and is a cute little car. So of course General Motors stops making it. I guess they had to put out more E-Vets. Anyway, so that's good news from Rivian. I'm headed into a bunch of electric car seminars to learn a lot more about them, and I think that the situation, there's gonna have to be consolidation. You're gonna have to be able to go to a place like what you see behind me, a gas station type deal, and go plug your car in, get it charged, get yourself a Coke, and drink the Coke, and then get back in your car and go. Another electric that's coming out, it's actually out already. I can't wait to get my hands on one and drive it as the Prologue, the Honda. Talked about it a little bit a couple of weeks ago. It looks to be an excellent car, and Honda really never half steps when they do cars. I mean, they're not, they're trying to bake some more excitement into them, but this Prologue, it's a partnership with General Motors, and it looks like they got something here. So we'll see. As soon as we can get our hands on one, we will drive it, and we will give you the buzz on it. But again, $47,005 for the Rivian. The people that I have spoken to that own Rivians seem to love them. It seems to be a cult favorite. I shouldn't say cult, I hate to say that, but it's kind of. And again, the other two, I don't know if I mentioned this, but the R3 and the R3X are small hatchbacks, which I think again is what the market is missing. R3 is going to be around in 2027. The R3X, three motors in it, wider stance, increased ground clearance. You're probably looking at a year later for that. But you will, I think you'll be impressed with the three new Rivians that are on the way. And, it's interesting because they kind of give a nod, Rivian does, to the car camping community, the people that are living in their cars and so on and so forth. Out living in them, but spending a lot of time, nomads, that type of person. By saying that you'll be able to sleep in these things, that the front and the rear seats designed to fold flat to permit camping. And they're going to put one other thing on this Rivian that I love. We were talking about it a couple of weeks ago. I love it when you have a tailgate where the rear glass opens independently of the whole hatch. If you are somebody who likes to get away, likes to camp in your car, does car camping, that's like a perfect thing because you can close the hatch and lock it. You can leave that thing open a little bit. You get some good air in there. You can get some air circulation going. So, congratulations to Rivian, and we will keep you updated on those vehicles as well. And It'll be something to watch, something to see those Rivians. One of the other things that made the news this week out of Europe. There's a group in Europe. If you go into a lot of these cars are losing the knobs and the buttons that we're all familiar with. These haptic touch buttons are the rage. They're putting them in all these cars. Or, you control it through the screen, and the safety agency in Europe is saying, well, wait a second, man. We want those knobs. We want those physical buttons restored. Tesla is like the biggest defender of this. The European New Car Assessment Program is saying we want these buttons because they're safe. You can feel them working. You can't feel a button working when you hit it on a screen. You don't know if it's working, and it can be a danger, a hazard to people as they move into electric cars. I tend to agree with them. If you look at some of the vehicles that the Volvo EX30, there's no buttons. It's all on the screen. And I can tell you that when you're driving, you're trying to find one of those buttons and you have to turn something on and off. You're not paying attention to what's going on ahead of you. You're paying attention to where the button to turn down the darn defroster fan is because your passenger is sitting there next to you complaining. Hey, turn that fan off, so loud, or turn that radio down. You have to listen to Led Zeppelin so loud. Anyway, so that's European agency is all about that, all about moving. Things like turn signals, hazard lights, windshield wipers, the horn, other critical emergency features, according to Auto Week, should remain in physical form. And again, all of those, especially on Tesla, happen within the steering wheel. And I think that that's confusing to people. I don't know. You tell me what you think. Go to the comments and tell me, what you think about. Are you okay with losing the traditional knobs and buttons on the dashboard and going to either the haptic stuff or the stuff that's just on screen? Or are you like me? That I don't know. It distracts you a little bit, but it doesn't discourage you from buying a car. If you went into an automotive showroom and you saw that there were no buttons to be had, where would your head be? What would you be thinking? All right. Let's grab one of our favorite segments that I always like to do. It always makes me feel good when I get to ask the musical question. And it's one of my favorite musical questions. Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week? But let's let Nathan ask it.
Yo, Vinnie, what are you driving this week?
Oh, Nathan, what am I driving this week? I'm driving the Honda Passport Trail Sport for 2024. And this vehicle is so about balance. I mean, that's what I like. In a couple of days that I've been driving, we're going to take it up to the Joe today and give it a run through. Get my buddy Bill to go with me, take pictures and stuff. But two things that strike about this vehicle immediately. Number one, the glass area. I like, if you're going to sit up high and you're going to be in a vehicle, I want a lot of glass. I want to see what's going on. I know the Range Rover and a lot of these other vehicles have that low roof, crushed down, aerodynamic profile. But if I'm in a vehicle like this, I want to see it. I want people to. I want to be able to see what's going on outside. I want it to feel spacious. I want it to feel big, even though it may not be big. Now, don't get me wrong. This Honda Passport has a ton of room inside, as you can see. But the fact that it has a high roof and lots of glass in it really is, I think, a good thing. I always think that that is not a bad thing to have. You can see, you can see where you're going. You can see around you. There's the Saint and the Rat up on top of the dashboard. Hello, guys, my co-pilots. Plenty of different USB-C ports and stuff on it. Look at that. Did you catch that on this? Look at that right there. An actual emergency brake that you can step on and stop the car. It's an actual emergency brake. It has an electric brake on it too. But this Honda gives you an emergency brake. And I got to be honest with you, folks, I love seeing that there. I love the feeling of being able, if you're rolling down the street and something's not working, of hitting that mechanical emergency brake and it's stopping the vehicle. Nice dashboard layout on this thing. Nothing superly futuristic about any of it, but it's all adequate. It all works. Plenty of room in the rear seat as well. Comfortable seating positions. The seats roll down, fold down, I should say, real well to give you expansive cargo space in the back. You have shades that pull up in case you have the kids in the back of the car and you don't want them to get sunburned. I think a lot of room. Door panels have a lot of little cubby holes, beverage holders, and everything to stick stuff. And as you see right there in the center console, you got that shade. That shade's a good thing. I like that shade. It keeps the sun off the kids in the back, keeps the car cooler. What more could you ask for in the hot summer weather? You never get to use them up here, but sometimes it gets sunny. And again, like I told you about that emergency brake. The Honda uses, unfortunately or fortunately, I mean, I'm going to say that the engine is adequate power. There's a big V6 that they have in a pilot that they haven't brought down to the Passport yet, but part of the balance of this thing is that it's adequately powered. It feels good driving it. It gets out of its own way. It's a good freeway masher. When you're getting on the freeway, you're able to get enough power, 280 horsepower out of this thing, a 9-speed automatic transmission. And I love having an automatic transmission in the car. And it's a Honda, so they work well, they shift well. You're not gonna be a drag racer with this. What this car gives you so far that I've seen is great balance between on road and with some changes in the suspension, the ability to take it off road to a certain degree. I mean, you're not going to go through the desert or through the wilds of the Panamanian jungle with it. But if you're going up to the cabin up there on one of the fire roads, and there's you got to go up and around something, this vehicle's going to get you there. So it seems. All right, we'll have more on it. The Honda Passport Trail Sport. Like I said, in a couple of days, we'll put it through its extensive testing, and we'll have a review for you in the next couple of weeks. But seems to me so far that it's an attractive, good vehicle that should do you well if this is the type of vehicle that you're looking for. And, Honda people love their Hondas. No matter what Honda it is, Honda people love their Hondas. From the pickup trucks to the SUVs to the Civics and the Accords. And I suspect that the Prologue is going to be a good vehicle for them as well. That people are going to really, do their electric vehicle stuff in a Honda, or at least give it a look-see. So, great vehicle, and that's our edition this week of Yo Vinnie. What are you driving this week? Love doing it. Love, giving you a preview of what I'm driving around. You can always find what I'm driving if you go on Facebook and you look for Yo Vinnie, what are you driving this week? That always gives you a look at what I'm driving this week, some of my thoughts about the vehicle, as I'm driving it, stuff that, sticks in your mind, and who knows, sometimes may not make it into the review. But if you go to Yo Vinnie, what are you driving this week on Facebook, you will find the little scribbles, the little notes that I take. I put them up there so that you can get kind of a running tally of what I think of a vehicle while I'm driving it. And I'm usually pretty good about putting stuff up there. Last week, couple of weeks, I haven't been, but I'm getting back on schedule for that. I'm the eclipse. I'm thinking about the eclipse. I'm trying to see here quickly if I can. No, I don't. Let me let me go down here quickly and see if I get it. Somebody asked the towing capacity of this vehicle, and I gotta be honest with you. I don't know. I know it weighs 4,237 pounds, and it'll give you. No, I don't have the towing capacity for it directly, but it will be in the review. I usually put some stuff about towing in the review as well. So, all right, so that's the Honda Passport Trail Sport. Try saying that 10 times fast. And again, lots of good, interesting stuff from Honda. Again, I'm really excited about seeing their electric vehicle and seeing what they do with that, seeing how the partnership between Honda and General Motors works out. It's not the only time that that's happened. So you get to, you'll get to see that. There's a lot of buzz around too about Stellantis and the Dodge Charger Daytona, the Dodge Charger S that are coming along the way, that are, I don't know, that are coming along from them. They're redesigned. They had the same design for many, many years, and they've kind of changed it. And so, they they're Stellantis is a profitable corporation. They make some great vehicles. And I like the look of the new generation of the Chargers, and the different vehicle designs that they have. A new show car that they've come out with that really looks cool. I'm a big Stellantis fan. I'm a big Mopar fan. I've always been a GM guy in my heart, but I really do look at those Mopars and have a soft spot in my heart for them. So that's something that you can you can take a look at, check out the different print media and magazines, and see pictures of and see what they are up to these days. We're efforting to get somebody on from Stellantis to talk a little bit more about the the Charger and tell us a little bit more about it. I want to take a minute before we get into the radio road test. If you go on the website, or if you look at the different uh, videos and stuff that I put up on YouTube on our channel, Golden V Media or Drive Time with New York Vinnie, please go to our YouTube channel. I want to get to 1,000 subscribers. We're about 800 something. And I really want to push to get 1,000 subscribers. So please go to the YouTube channel at New York Vinnie, NYVINNIE, and subscribe. And click on a couple of videos, take a look, and leave me comments. Tell me if you like what you see. Starting next week, we're going to have a phone number also, because I'm going to try to bring back an old Graz and gas thing. A couple of guys that I worked with here in town. Voicemails. We're going to take your voicemails and put them on the air and let you listen to them. We can't do the cartoon, the Saturday morning cartoon, because of copyright stuff on the internet. But we can do your voicemails. That's original content, no copyright on that. So we'll replace one with the other. But one thing that I did want to make note of is that we often drive up and down I-5, often drive through Marysville, and on our way up to Arlington to get on to Joe to do our test route. And almost always there seems to be a state patrol car parked on the side of the road near Marysville, keeping an eye on traffic, keeping an eye on drivers. It's no secret that people have gotten wilder since the pandemic. They got that there's not a lot of cops around, and the cops maybe don't want to pull me over, so they took that as license to go scooting down the road at 90 miles an hour. And you see it if you ride I-5 back and forth, you see it all the time. You're always getting passed by somebody doing 85, 90 in the rain. Well, last Saturday morning while we were doing this show on I-5 at Marysville, there was one of those troopers sitting in his car. And he was hit and killed by somebody who was just who had had a couple of beers, smoked some pot, and was driving, lost control of their vehicle, climbed up on the shoulder, and killed him. And I just I don't know why this story has gotten to me. Maybe because I just drive by it all the time. I see it in Marysville all the time. It's happened 3 o'clock in the morning. Guy in his car by himself, like I said. By the way, before you put it in the comments, no, he was not a U.S. citizen. He's in this country illegally. And please don't text me about that, or because if you're in the country and you're not here legally, what are you here? Illegally, right? Anyway, I don't want to politicize this. I just want to impress upon you the dangers of driving while you're high, the dangers of driving while you're intoxicated. Here's a guy with a family. He was serving his community, his family. He comes from a line of state troopers. I think his father's a state trooper. His brother is a trooper. His sister is a trooper down in Texas. It's a state patrolman, Christopher Gadd. And hit southbound on I-5 while on duty, killed, hopefully immediately, because when I looked at the pictures of the wreck, it was heartbreaking. I mean, this guy must have been traveling, motivating when he hit this trooper. Please, folks, if you have the ability to stop somebody, if you have the ability to not let somebody get in their car and destroy lives like this nitwit did, please do it. Please take the chance. Please don't let people drive. I have a brother that was killed by an intoxicated driver down in North Carolina, sitting at a light. Some guy comes along, smacks him, puts him into oncoming traffic, and that's it. 27 years old is this Washington State patrolman. And it's just tragic. So many lives ruined here, and so many just for something that probably could have been prevented. If one of his friends would have said to him, "Hey, I'll take you home. Don't drive. Take his keys." I'm sure that this guy didn't set out to want to do it. Not like he got in his car and set out and said, "Gee, I'm going to kill somebody on the way home." But it happened, and it's heartbreaking. I don't know this guy, this trooper, but I respect the state troopers. I see the job that they do, and I see the tough job that they have. And yeah, I complain like anybody else if I get a ticket. But I know that there's a whole lot of drivers that go through that stretch by the casinos there, by Marysville, where the tendency is to speed up, see the state troopers, and slow down. And maybe that makes that piece of highway just a little bit safer for you and me. So please keep this trooper. They're going to have a memorial service for him on the 12th. You can go online and find it. It's all the TV stations have it on their website. But maybe on the 12th, even if you can't go to the memorial service, stop and stop for a second and remember this guy who died serving you and me and his community. And God bless his family, and God bless the people that were affected. There was another driver that was hit and hurt in this thing as well. I guess he bounced off the state trooper car, went across all lanes of traffic, and hit another driver. People stopped and tried to help the trooper, but it seems like it was too late. And again, please, if you ever in an opportunity, you ever have a chance to stop somebody from doing this, please take the chance to do it. Please take the chance to be a hero. You want to see what a hero is? A hero is somebody who takes somebody's keys, who's intoxicated, and doesn't let him drive, because you more than likely saved a life that night. You more than likely kept tragedy away from somebody's door. You more than likely, and even though your friend may argue with you, they may get pissed off at you, and they may, uh, want to get in a fight with you. Stand your ground. Don't let them win and take their keys and drive. It's unreal that in this day and age it still happens, but it does. And the only way it'll ever stop is if we all take responsibility and we say, we just don't stand up for this anymore. We don't take this anymore. It's not cool to get in your car when you're intoxicated or high. And believe me, the high thing, listen, I've been with my daughter in the car driving on Mercer Island. I pulled up next to a car and you could smell the weed a block away. I don't know how in the world people get away with that. And I'm not a prude, man. I have a cocktail. I don't smoke weed anymore, but I've inhaled, and I just noted it's just it's a sad thing. We got the right to have marijuana in this state, to possess it, but with that right comes a responsibility, and one of those responsibilities are not driving when you are high, not killing people. People should not die because you want to get high. So, if you're if you have the chance to help out with this, if you have the chance to do something, please do it. All right, let's get into the radio road test before we close the show out. I know that that's always one of your favorite parts of this thing, the radio road test, and we will talk about that electric car, that Toyota electric car that they put a Buzz in their lineup with the BZ4X. Again, a very, very, very impressive car, I thought, by Toyota. Their only fully electric effort, and I thought roomy, comfortable, well designed, thoughtfully designed, with designed with some, I don't know what's the word, passion, a plum to it, designed um, uh, with some fun into it, where the speakers meet the dashboard. They've put little designs in there. They put a like a, almost a tweed looking cover on the dashboard to make it look not boring. Electric does not mean that you have to be boring. It just means that it's electric. And I think that more than many, the BZ4X does that and does it well. Again, uh, a uh, a sharply designed car, reminiscent of the RAV4, probably a futuristic looking RAV4, not as roomy as the RAV4 inside, but very well designed. And the trendy kind of stuff that you see. It's got the cladding on the side, the dark cladding, so you don't get the mud all over your fenders. You have the uh, tail lights that go across the back and give you a lot of visibility from behind. You got a very roomy interior with the now fashionable um, port there that you can go right through with the ports stuck right behind it. Quirky and interesting dashboard. They have the instrument panel that you look at is back away from you, and then you have the Gigunda screen right in front of you, easy to access. Toyota makes a very very good infotainment system. Here's what I was talking about the design. You have the tweed like on the dashboard. It's a pleasant car to sit in. It's a pleasant car to drive in. It keeps your attention. It captures you. You have the panoramic roof on the top. Um, Charging port is easily accessible. It's right up there by the driver's door. You go to the charge point like I did over here, and you plug it in, and the it gets you going real quickly. Toyota has done a really nice job with their engine. Now, the highway range is a little tough in it, and it doesn't have full regenerative braking. You hit the button and everything works on the one pedal. But it's still for what it is and what it does. I think a great car. And the interesting thing is, it has that Toyota safety suite. I think it's 3.0, they call it, and it's an incredibly well placed, intensive safety suite of equipment that keep you from backing into people, keep you from hitting people, keep you your attention on the road. As a matter of fact, the one piece that's on it, behind the steering wheel, you're kind of, if you start looking at your phone, it tells on you. But again, the its competition is the Nero, the ID4, the Ioniq 5 from Hyundai. Uh, Gets to 60 miles per hour, the powerful dual motor version I had, in 6.4 seconds. And it, like a lot of electric vehicles, it doesn't feel like it's wandering all over the place. The steering is really good. The suspension was really done in a manner that makes you feel confident on the road, not like it's moving all over the place. It doesn't have that electric car feel to it. The Toyota engineers did a great job of tuning this car suspension for highway, but really for local driving. If you take this car and you're driving around to the supermarket, up 99, short stretch on the highway, it excels. It's really an incredible piece of work by Toyota. And you knew when Toyota did this kind of stuff that it was going to be, Toyota-esque. It was going to be nice. No sitting on the fence on this one. The dual motor that I drove was supposed to have a range of 222 to 228 miles. I don't know that it got close to that, to be honest with you. I think it came in under 200. And again, that's something Toyota has to think about. They have to address. But it gets Toyota into the electric vehicle space. And it allows Toyota to bring you a reasonably priced electric vehicle that you have the confidence of how they build Toyotas, which is, I mean, right now, you put a Toyota up against anything, they're really well built cars. And this car, soup to nuts, $54,128 with everything. And that doesn't include the tax credits that you may get on this car. Again, you have to look up because it all depends on where the car is made, how much content. I mean, it's a whole thing. But on the whole, this Toyota BZ4X is a great car to look at if you are going to make the leap into electrics. You may not have the range that some other electrics have, but you have a car that was built right, that is functional, that is easy to operate, easy to understand, has the familiarity of a Toyota to it, so you don't get, the Tesla shock when you get in there and you start pushing buttons. Has a lot of space inside. Again, not as much as the RAV4, but comparable to the RAV4. And I don't know about now, but I could see a day where these things will drop under sticker price, under 54. They're a little scarce to get. And one other thing, and I think we mentioned this last week, if you are a Subaru fan, the Subaru Solterra is virtually the same car. So, and if you're one of those people that you're brand married to Subaru, you can go into a Subaru showroom and look at this car and say, "That's my car," and you can ride it around with the sexier Solterra name on it. Which and we all know that people that buy Subarus are so loyal. I mean, it's really unbelievable how much people in the Northwest. Well, actually, you know what? It's not unbelievable because the Subaru is a good car. It has a great advertising campaign. They're, for the most part, reasonably priced. They have a good dealer network that resolves problems for people when they get them. And they're good, practical cars. They have a reputation. And, we showed you the Forester a couple of weeks ago, the 2025 Forester. I'm hoping to get into that pretty soon and drive that. But Subaru makes great cars, and people stay loyal to them. So with this BZ4X and the Solterra, you can go either way. You can have a Subaru, or you can have a Toyota and feel happy and have a good, solid car. So that's the Subaru. Excuse me. Now I'm thinking Subaru. The Toyota BZ4X, also available in a single motor, non-all-wheel drive version. If you're looking to save some bucks, again, this is the all-wheel drive, dual motor, pretty well loaded. But you can get these things if you're and to be honest with you, if you're in the city, do you need the all-wheel drive? I know it's nice to have, but if it saves you $3,000 or $4,000, maybe it's worth it for you not to have, to just have the two. You get more range that way too, with just the single motor. But I got a sneaky suspicion that a lot of people are going to go, and they're going to go with the dual motor, the all-wheel drive, because rain and snow, and that's something that's always good to have. All right, that is the Toyota BZ4X, and that is also our show for this week. So thank you so much for listening or watching on the internet or listening on radio. We always appreciate our listeners. We will be back next Saturday morning at 11 o'clock Pacific time. Now we got daylight savings. time's changing, so that will, I don't know if that'll screw us up or not. So look for me at 11, but don't be surprised if I show up at 10 or at 12. By Saturday, I should get it right. All right. Thanks so much for participating in the show. We always appreciate it. We appreciate the number of listeners that we have. And once again, sometimes I got to learn how to speak English. It's bad enough I'm getting old. Anyway, do yourselves a favor. Do me a favor. Go on at YouTube and subscribe to my channel so that you can get me over 1,000 subscribers. That's my goal for the month of March, is to get 1,000 subscribers. By the way, next week, don't forget it's St. Patrick's Day, or the day before St. Patty's Day, but any good citizen gets himself warmed up on the day before St. Patty's Day. We'll have our annual tribute to the Irish automobile industry. So we're going to do that, and we'll bring you a car that was made in Ireland, that one of the only surviving 7 of them lives here in Seattle. So that's something to look forward to. And wear green. You look good in green, baby. All right, catch up with you next weekend if the Lord's willing and the creek don't rise. Thank you so much for listening to our show on the Golden V Media Broadcasting Network. And you take care of yourself. Be nice. Be nice to each other, Live a little. Talk to you later. Thanks so much. Now if I can find the off button. Have a good one.